Hello, my amazing learners, and welcome back to English Learning Podcast. I'm so happy you're here with me today. My name is Emma, and I'm here to help you learn English in a simple, effective, and enjoyable way. Today, we are going to talk about something that I know many of you have experienced. It's a feeling that can be incredibly frustrating. Have you ever found yourself in a situation where you can perfectly understand English? You can watch a movie, listen to a podcast, or read a book, and you understand almost everything. But then when it's your turn to speak, you freeze. The words feel like they are trapped in your mind. You know what you want to say, but the sentences just don't come out. If this sounds like you, I want you to take a deep breath and relax, because you are not alone. This is one of the most common challenges that English learners face. First, I want to congratulate you. If you can understand English well, it means you have already built a strong and solid foundation. That is a huge achievement, and you should be proud of it. The next step is simply to turn that passive understanding into active, confident speaking. And the good news is, with the right strategies and a little patience, you can absolutely do this. Today's episode, we are going to explore exactly why this happens. Why is it that so many learners can understand but struggle to speak? We will look at the reasons behind this common problem, and then I will give you simple, practical tips to help you build your speaking skills and your confidence. By the end of this episode, you will have a clear, actionable plan to make progress every single day. So if you have ever thought to yourself, "I understand English, but I can't speak it," then stay with me. We are going to turn that frustration into progress and take your speaking skills to the next level. Are you ready? Wonderful. Let's begin. A personal story. My friend Maria's journey. Before we dive into the reasons, let me share a story with you about a dear friend of mine named Maria. Her story might sound very familiar to you. Maria was an excellent English student. She had studied English in school for many years. Her reading comprehension was fantastic, and her grammar knowledge was perfect. She could watch her favorite American TV shows without subtitles and understand every joke. But when it came to speaking, Maria had a secret fear. I remember one day we went to a coffee shop, and I encouraged her to order our drinks in English. She practiced the sentence in her mind. "Can I have 2 lattes, please?" But when we got to the front of the line and the barista smiled and said, "What can I get for you?" Maria froze. Her mouth went dry and she couldn't say a single word. She looked at me with panic in her eyes, and I ended up ordering for both of us. Later, I asked her what happened. She said, ... Emma, I know the words. I can hear them perfectly in my head, but when I have to speak, my brain just stops. I'm so scared I will make a mistake, or that my accent will sound silly. This feeling is so incredibly common. For Maria, the problem was not her knowledge of English. The problem was the fear of imperfection. She had spent so many years studying to be correct that she was terrified of being incorrect in a real conversation. Perhaps you have felt this way too. Maybe you have a wonderful vocabulary, but you hesitate to use it. Or maybe you worry about what other people will think of your English. I want to tell you that these feelings are normal and valid. Every language learner, including myself, has felt this way at some point. Maria's journey to becoming a confident speaker was a slow one, but it started with a change in her mindset. She realized that making mistakes was a necessary and valuable part of learning. She started small. She would practice ordering her coffee every day. Some days she was nervous, but she did it anyway. Little by little, her confidence grew. She joined an online conversation club where she could practice with other learners in a safe, supportive environment. She learned that everyone was there to learn and no one was judging her. Today, Maria is one of the most confident English speakers I know. She works for an international company and uses English every single day. She once told me that the most important thing she did was to shift her focus from trying to be perfect to simply trying to communicate. The more she practiced, the more natural it felt. I share Maria's story because it shows that this common challenge can be overcome. It takes practice, patience, and the courage to make mistakes. And just like Maria, you can do it too. Why does this happen? Understanding the gap. If you understand English well, but struggle to speak it, you might be wondering, why is this happening to me? It's a frustrating feeling, especially after all the hard work you've put into learning English. The truth is that there are very clear reasons for this gap between understanding and speaking. Let's explore them. 1. Lack of active speaking practice. This is the number one reason. Speaking and listening are two different skills. Listening is a passive skill. You are receiving information. Speaking is an active skill. You are producing language. Most traditional language learning focuses on passive skills. You read books, you listen to audio, you do grammar exercises. These are all very important, but they do not train the speaking muscle in your brain. Speaking requires your brain to do many things at once. Recall vocabulary, form a sentence with correct grammar, and coordinate your mouth muscles to produce the right sounds, all in real time. If you haven't practiced this process, it's no wonder that it feels slow and difficult. 2. The fear of making mistakes. As we saw in Maria's story, this is a huge mental barrier. We worry that we will make a grammar mistake, mispronounce a word, or say something that makes us sound unintelligent. This fear can be so strong that it stops us from even trying to speak. It's important to understand that no one expects you to be perfect. In fact, native speakers are usually very happy and impressed when someone makes an effort to speak their language. The key is to embrace mistakes as a natural and essential part of the learning process. Every time you make a mistake and learn from it, you get a little bit better. 3. Lack of confidence. Confidence is a huge factor in speaking any language. Even if you know the right words and grammar, a lack of confidence can make you hesitate and doubt yourself. This lack of confidence often comes from comparing yourself to others, especially native speakers. But confidence is not something you have, it's something you build. And the best way to build it is through practice. Every time you have a successful, even small conversation in English, you are building your confidence. It's about taking small steps, pushing yourself a little bit outside of your comfort zone, and celebrating your progress along the way. 4. The problem of translating in your head. This is another major reason why speaking can feel so slow. Many learners speak in their native language first, then mentally translate the sentence into English, and then finally say it out loud. This three-step process is slow, inefficient, and often results in unnatural-sounding sentences, because the grammar and sentence structure of your native language might be very different from English. Fluent speakers do not translate. They think directly in English. Reaching this stage is a key goal for any fluent speaker, and it is a skill that you can develop with specific practice, which we will talk about later in this episode. 5. Limited vocabulary recall. Sometimes the problem isn't that you don't know a word, it's that you can't remember it quickly enough when you need it in a conversation. This is the difference between passive vocabulary, words you recognize when you read or hear them, and active vocabulary, words you can easily use when you speak. If you spend most of your time listening and reading, you will build a large passive vocabulary. But to move those words into your active vocabulary, you need to practice using them in speech. As you can see, understanding English and speaking it are two very different skills that use different parts of your brain. The good news is that all of these challenges can be overcome. It all starts with prioritizing active speaking practice. In the next section, we'll talk about exactly why speaking practice is so crucial and how it can help you become the confident, fluent speaker you want to be. the importance of speaking practice. Now that we've explored why many learners understand English but struggle to speak it, let's focus on the most important solution: speaking practice. If you want to become fluent and confident in English, speaking is not optional. It is essential. But why is speaking practice so critical? Why is it the most powerful way to improve your speaking skills? 1. Speaking connects knowledge to action. When you are learning English, you spend a lot of time gathering knowledge. You learn grammar rules, you memorize vocabulary, and you practice reading and listening. These activities are important for building your understanding of the language. But understanding a language and using it actively are two completely different things. When we practice speaking, we are connecting the knowledge in our heads with the real-life action of communication. It's like learning to cook. You can read a cookbook for hours and understand the recipe perfectly, but until you actually go into the kitchen and start mixing the ingredients, you don't truly know how to cook. Speaking is the same. It bridges the gap between what you know and what you can do. The more you speak, the faster your brain becomes at recalling words, forming sentences, and thinking in English. 2. Speaking builds unshakable confidence. As we discussed, one of the biggest obstacles to speaking English is a lack of confidence. And the only way to build confidence is by doing the thing that scares you. Confidence comes from experience. It doesn't happen overnight. It's built over time, one conversation at a time. When you practice speaking regularly, you get used to the feeling of hearing your own voice in English. You get used to making mistakes and realizing that it's okay. With each small success, your confidence grows. Think of it this way: if you never practice, you will always stay in your comfort zone. Speaking even just for a few minutes a day pushes you beyond that zone and slowly but surely builds your self-belief. 3. Speaking helps you think directly in English. One of the most powerful results of consistent speaking practice is that it trains your brain to think in English. As we talked about, many learners get stuck because they are translating from their native language. When you practice speaking regularly, you force your brain to find the English words and phrases directly. At first, this process will feel slow, but over time, the more you practice, the more your brain will create strong automatic connections. Eventually, you will start to think in English without even trying. This is the moment when you will feel a major breakthrough in your fluency. 4. Speaking improves your pronunciation and fluency. Pronunciation and fluency are two areas that can only be improved through speaking. You can know how a word is supposed to sound, but until you practice saying it out loud, your mouth muscles won't be able to produce the sound correctly. When you practice speaking, you get the opportunity to focus on your pronunciation. You can record your voice and compare it to a native speaker. You can work on difficult sounds and the natural rhythm of English. Fluency also improves dramatically with practice. Fluency is about speaking smoothly, and the more you practice, the less you will hesitate to find words. Your ideas will flow more naturally, and you will sound much more like a native speaker. 5. Speaking enhances your listening skills. It may seem surprising, but practicing speaking can actually make you a better listener. A conversation is a two-way street. When you speak English with someone, you have to listen carefully to their response in order to continue the conversation. This forces you to become a more active and engaged listener. Furthermore, when you practice speaking, you become more familiar with the sounds and rhythms of English. This makes it easier to understand native speakers when they talk at a natural speed. Listening and speaking are a dynamic pair. By improving one, you automatically improve the other. In summary, speaking practice is absolutely essential. It turns your passive knowledge into an active skill, builds your confidence, helps you think in English, and improves both your pronunciation and your listening skills. In the next section, we'll discuss practical, simple strategies you can use to practice speaking regularly and make it a natural part of your daily routine. Conclusion: you are capable of speaking English automatically. We have covered so much today, and I am so proud of you for staying with me on this deep dive into fluency. We've talked about what fluency truly means, how your brain is naturally built to learn languages, and the 5 powerful pillars you can build to speak English automatically. If you take only one thing away from this episode, I want it to be this: you are absolutely 100% capable of becoming a fluent English speaker. The journey to fluency is not about a special talent or being a genius. It is about practice, patience, and most of all, a strong and positive belief in yourself. Every fluent speaker you admire was once a beginner just like you. They all made thousands of mistakes. They all felt nervous at times, but they kept going. They trusted the process. They were kind to themselves, and they did not give up. So I want to encourage you to keep moving forward, even on the days when it feels slow. Even when you feel frustrated, please know that you are making progress. With every listening session, with every sentence you speak to yourself in the mirror, your brain is building new connections and you are getting stronger and more skilled every single day. Thank you so much for listening to today's podcast. I truly hope that you found these strategies and this encouragement helpful as you continue on your English journey. If you enjoyed this episode and found it valuable, it would mean the world to me if you could take a moment to support our wonderful community of learners. First, please like this episode or give it a positive rating. This helps other English learners from around the world to discover our podcast. Second, if you haven't already, please be sure to subscribe to the channel so that you never miss a new lesson. And if you know someone else who is learning English and might find this episode helpful, please share it with them. Helping others is a beautiful part of any learning journey. Finally, I would love to hear from you. Leave a comment below and tell me what is one small action you will take this week to practice your English. I read every comment and I love hearing about your progress. Remember, you are on the right path and I believe in you. Keep speaking, keep listening, and most importantly, keep believing in yourself. Thank you again for joining me today. Until next time, happy learning and take care.